Hi everyone, this is Radhika here again. So this video is going to be about how can you heal the mother wound. If you want information on why you want to heal, why you would be interested in the mother wound or healing it, it's in the previous video. So I will send a link. I will add a link to that video below this video, and I also have a blog post on this which I will also add below. So in this video I'm going to list some of the techniques which I used, but to be frank, my mom is not a narcissistic person, but as I said in the previous video, no one's parents are perfect, so everyone can benefit from this technique. And if you have covert or overtly narcissistic mother, then you just have to multiply, like, then using these techniques would be, maybe I would say 10 or 50 times more difficult, depending on how narcissistic your mother has been. So it totally, the use of these technique totally depends on um, how further down the narcissistic spectrum your mother was. And I realize that some mothers are really far down on the spectrum. So I just wanted to give a trigger warning, because some of the things that I'm stating here might trigger some people and you might not like what I'm saying, especially if you have not yet started the forgiveness process of forgiving the narcissistic people in your life. And I understand that a lot of people feel that forgiveness is so that they are pardoned, but that's not what forgiveness means. What forgiveness is basically you are saying that I forgive you for all the crap you did, and now it does not affect me anymore. So you understand, it's not for them, it's for you. You are the person who's in control here, and you are the person who's saying that I energetically remove you from my past, and I energetically, like, push you away from my present so that you are not affecting my thoughts anymore. So that is what forgiveness actually is. It is for the person who forgives, it is not for the person who is forgiven. I mean, it is for them also, because they are freed now from this uh, from this cause and effect, right? So they caused you hurt, and now you keep thinking about it, so that's the effect of the cause. So that's what karam is, right? Karam or karma, or however you want to call it, is basically, that it's cause and effect, like the Buddha explained it. So basically you are releasing them from that. So I don't know if it is good or bad for them, I don't care, but it is definitely good for the person who forgives, because now that person is no longer under the influence of the person who caused the harm to that person. So yeah, that's what forgiveness is. But if you are not in that process yet, which I understand, it takes time to get there. So I would say, if you are not there yet, maybe don't watch this video. Or if you want to watch it, if it triggers you or if it brings up some memories which you don't probably want to feel right now, you can just click off. Or if you want to get triggered in order for those feelings to get healed, then maybe you can still continue watching it. So here are some of the points I want to list. Okay, so number one, so realize that your mother is just a human, is or was, if she's not there anymore. And realize that the idea of a perfect mother, which we all want actually growing up, is a complete oversell by society. Like, especially if you grow up in the Indian society, or maybe some Eastern society like Chinese or whatever, there is so much of pressure on mothers to be perfect, and everyone puts that pressure on a mom from the time she's pregnant. And it will really drive you crazy. It drove me crazy when I was pregnant, because it puts so much of pressure on the mother. And so I'm not saying that if your mother was a bad, she treated you badly. I'm not saying uh, that is a complete oversell. No one should treat another human being badly. If that is happening, obviously the person who is treating you badly has some sort of a problem that needs to be solved. So what I'm saying is, sometimes we expect too much of our parents. Our parents are just human beings, and they had a lot of problems probably which we knew nothing about when we were growing up, and they tried to cope in the best way possible that they could that they could think of. And I'm not saying that the way they coped was the best way, but what I'm saying is, they thought that is the best way at that time, and maybe they did not have all the information that they should have had, and they could have handled the situation in a better way. But at the end of the day, they are just human beings. So especially in Eastern society, you kind of look up to parents like these demigods or gods and I feel like that, although it the parents might build their ego off of that, thinking, oh, I'm getting so much respect from my children or whatever, but it also puts a lot of pressure, especially on the parents who actually want to be like a demigod, because then they are just stretching themselves beyond their human capacity. So yeah, I do believe like humans can reach divinity, but it's not doable in a year or two. You have to put in a lot of work to get there. And I don't think most people who become parents are there yet. They might be there if they do the inner work and things like that. But yeah, just realize that your parents were just human beings and they might have made a lot of mistakes. But yeah, just try to look at them as a human. You yourself, being a human, must have made a lot of mistakes in your life. Um, then the second one is, realize that your mother, who must be like at least 20 years older than you, grew up in times when she probably was made bad to made she was made to feel bad because she was a girl, you know. So especially in some countries this is very very relevant, because she might have grown up and she in an environment where she wasn't shown any love at all, and where all the time being she was made to feel that she's not good enough, and that's how she grew up. That's what she felt. uh, Parenting is that you make one child, whoever behaves well, you make that child feel good, and whoever behaves bad, you make that child feel bad. And that used to happen a lot, like in Indian society, where the male child was always put up on a pedestal, and the female child was always said that just because you're a female you are not good enough or something like that. So they might have had a lot of those wounds when they were growing up, and they might not have had so much of information about fixing those wounds, or actually they might completely be unaware that this is a wound because they might feel that this is just the way you live. And that's why probably they might have passed on these feelings of not being good enough to you guys. So that's one point. Then the third point is, 20 years back, I think I can say the whole world, but I haven't been all around the world, but I can say 20 years before, India was a pretty male dominated society. I mean, even now it is, but 20 years down the line, it must have been even worse than what it is now. So I can only imagine how a woman must be feeling in such a society, especially if this was a woman who thought she had potential. And I feel like as human beings, we all think we have potential. I don't think any one of us is like so depressed or so low in self-esteem that we feel we are useless, at least not throughout your life, in at least in the beginning. When you are a child, you feel like you have so many things to explore, so many things to do. But maybe in a male dominated society, a female did not could not use her potential, and maybe that kind of killed the woman inside. And what happens is, sometimes when you yourself have killed your ambition, you take it out on your children. And I'm not saying this is good, I'm not saying that this is something we should do, but what I'm saying is, just by getting this realization, you can understand what is the mental state of that person. So that person is already in a very, what do you say, their soul is already fragmented at that point. So you can't really, it's like an injured lion. They say don't go near an injured lion, because he won't have any sense of, because he's in so much of pain, he's just going to take it out on anyone who comes in front of him. So that's how a lot of mothers, I feel, used to be, especially a lot of mothers who were in their masculine power, who thought that they have intelligence, they have personality, they have uh, what is needed to go out in the world and make a mark for yourself. But the society was such that even such women were always kept indoors, and maybe they didn't want to cook, but they had to cook. And then you have the covert narcissists who also actually believe in themselves, but maybe they are forced to cook, and then they fool themselves saying that, oh no, I love to cook. So that's where the distinction is. The covert narcissist is fooling even themselves to a certain degree, at least in the beginning, and later on they understand who they have become now. But in the beginning, they actually start becoming covert by fooling themselves. So they try to be virtuous, whereas they know that they are not virtuous. So that's one point. So this is basically just understanding of the situation, trying to get some empathy or forgiveness for your mother, who might not have treated you correctly, who might not have been an ideal mother. But you can't go back, and you can't turn back time, and you can't make her ideal, and you'll have to go back a long long time, because her mom was probably narcissistic because of her mom and her family. So you'll really have to go back to the start of time to fix things in the correct way. So what we can do is, we can probably just realize all these things by introspection, by understanding, by getting a little more empathy into the situation. And if not forgive, just kind of think about it, like, why is she this way, and why did she do the things that she did, and um, how did it affect you, and how bad you feel. And you can actually think about these things, and this will help you kind of reach the state of at least thinking about forgiving them. And trust me, forgiveness is a very big process. It's not like one day I'll decide that, okay, today I forgive and I will forgive a person. No, it's like healing. It's a whole process. So one day you finally decide that, okay, I want to forgive this so and so person for so and so thing, because I just don't want to hold on to it anymore. I want to let it go. And even on that day, you haven't that day is the day you have started the process of forgiveness. But forgiveness takes time, because you will feel like you have forgiven someone, and then something else will come up, and you will still get an emotional reaction. And this will happen multiple times, until the time that you stop reacting emotionally, even when someone is praising that person who hurt you in front of you. That's when you will realize that, Okay, so maybe like this certain person hurt you very badly, like a covert narcissistic mom for one certain thing, but maybe she has XYZ quality that someone else brings up in front of you. The day you can actually acknowledge that yes, she has this XYZ quality, and that when you really feel it, that yes, maybe she is a great cook, like I really love the things she makes, that is the day when you can say that okay, now I have forgiven, or now I don't get triggered by that person. And that's it takes a long time to get there, sometimes it'll take months, it'll take years, depending on how much hurt you have stored inside of you against that person. So yeah, so these points can help you get to that stage of starting to forgive. Then some things that you can do on your own, keeping that person aside, is start a practice of self-love. So if your mom kind of made you feel bad about certain things, like maybe she commented on your looks, or on your skin color, or on your hair, or your body type, or your weight, or your intelligence, or how you behave, or your anger, or your ego, whatever she, or if you're a male child and she always made you feel that you are not strong enough, you are sensitive, you are weak, or whatever, or if she always told you that you have to put others in front of yourself, you have to be self-sacrificing, you have to be the martyr of the family, you have to take everything on you. If these are the things that you have picked up from your mom, then you have to kind of notice these things, like notice the things you picked up from her. Your fears, for example, if she was a fear based person, you might have picked up a lot of fears from her. Even though you might be a brave person, but you might have seen her being afraid of a certain thing and you pick it up. So all these things that come from her, hurts that come from her, or habits that come from her, the unhealthy ones, you kind of make a note of them. And then you decide that you are going to unconditionally love these parts of yourself. And why I say unconditionally love is these have become a part of you now. So you can't really just say, I want to separate them from me, because that will cause a soul, that will cause like a soul division, right? Because all these years you have behaved in this certain way, which maybe you picked up from your mom, or the hurts that she caused, they have been a part of you. So if you hate your body because your mom probably made you feel bad about your body, or if you hate asking for help because your mom always told you that don't ask for help, do it yourself, or something like that. So all those parts of you that come from her, the conditioning you got from her, you have to love them unconditionally, and don't try to separate them from you, because they are a part of you. So just love them and see them. And if it's a bad thing that you picked up from her, say you picked up being what do you say, a martyr from her, so you are always putting others in front of you, you're becoming a people pleaser, or you are not putting your needs in front of other people's needs, then you have to a unconditionally love this, and second, slowly try to change these negative traits. So I'm not saying discard them completely, because then they will go into your shadow. So you have to first love them, understand that okay, I have been behaving in this way, and now I understand why I behaved in this way. So now I'm going to slowly start changing my behavior. So you kind of have to mother yourself now into being the healthiest version of yourself. So yeah, so that's one. And whatever she calls as flaws, maybe like you have an overly critical mom who always pointed out your flaws. So you have to accept those flaws as a part of yourself. So acceptance is key. Accept everything, don't resist. Then the Then another thing you can do is energetic cord cutting and aura cleansing. So I know this is a bit woo woo, but I am a Reiki healer, so I do believe in energy. I believe everything is energy. So this will help you, and you can look up these terms online. um, then the next one is hypnotherapy and childhood regression, which is also like, it is a type of hypnotherapy, is also useful. Then psychotherapy is also useful, so you can talk it out with a therapist. Then if you want to list the chakras which are affected by this kind of upbringing, they are root chakra, which is Muladhara chakra, sacral chakra, which is Swadhisthana chakra, and solar plexus chakra, which is Manipur chakra, and also heart chakra, which is Anahat chakra. So you can work on healing these four chakras, and to do that, there are so many meditations and so many things online which you can Google and find whatever resonates the best with you to do that. And then the last one is um, kind of a bit different, but I'm sure it works, because there's I can't tell you how what the direct connection is, but it works, or that's my experience. So the last one is just get comfortable with all the feminine energy, all the aspects of feminine energy. So this means just being, okay, not doing anything, just be who you are, uh, being loving, being kind, waiting, praying, etc. All of this helps. So I don't know how this helps, but I mean, my idea of how it helps is that when we have certain parts growing up which our mom hurt us by, they kind of go into the anima, as I told you, as you know, I mentioned in the previous video. And anima is basically how we view feminine energy in this world. So not just females, but how we view even people who are always like spiritual, or people who are always just kind and nice and positive, and like when you kind of make fun of them, that shows when because you are making fun of them, it's an indication that you're getting triggered by them, and you are getting triggered by all their woo woo ness, like how illogical they are, how superstitious they are. So I used to be like that. So basically, it's an indicator that somewhere you are not receptive to feminine energy, and that comes because maybe like when you were growing up, your mom made you really tough, and she was like be logical, be strong, don't be sensitive, or something like that. So basically, any repression of your feminine energy that happened when you were a child, and feminine energy is there for both males and females. So males especially have really bad animas because they are told when they are growing up that don't cry, don't be a girl, don't be sensitive, don't show any emotion, etc. So that's how they become men. Like if you look around you in your office, you will have men who are totally incapable of accepting any emotion. They will just run away. As soon as they see emotion, it's like a plague for them, and they just run away. And they have so much repressed emotion inside them, which usually comes out as rage or anger, because when they were growing up, that's how they saw their dad expressing himself. Like my dad won't say, I mean, I'm not saying my dad, but that person's dad won't say anything, but then when he suddenly speaks, it'll be out of rage and anger, and then everyone will be scared of him, and so on and so forth. So that's how a lot of men nowadays are. They don't know how to process emotion, and that's why when we see a man who is sensitive, it's like jackpot. So that's what usually happens. But yeah, so just get comfortable with your feminine energies, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. um, so yeah, that was my last point, and this list is not comprehensive, so if you have any other points, then please feel free to write about them in the comments below. And yeah, that was all from me in this video, and as always, I wish you all a lot of love and a lot of light. Thank you. Bye.